G'day and welcome back to the channel for something a little more upbeat. I don't like doing all these negative videos, but I guess that was the material I was given at the time, eh? Anywho, let's play some KSP2 and let's go visit Mun's space. Actually, what I'm doing here is I'm building a rocket. Had some bad luck with the rocket that came with the game. Doesn't seem to decouple properly in my last video, so here I am. I'm building a new Mun rocket, and it's kind of probably over-engineered somewhat, although there was a little problem with the parachutes, but we'll get to that, well, at the end. Yes. Anyway, for now, here I am building this little rocket, and I'm probably going to speed up the footage a bit. But yeah, I wanted to put together a little video where I actually play some of the game for you instead of, you know, giving my opinion after losing heaps of footage. And I can make some suggestions on what's what while I'm at it, and also help you get by when things don't go quite to plan. Well, when the maneuver planner doesn't plan very well at all. Which is what I found happened. I wasn't able to, you know, make a maneuver, head to the point, and then rely on it in any real way. And we'll watch that as we go through. Now I'm just trying to, you know, see how much delta V I got. Now, yeah, look, I've mentioned in the previous video that there are some issues with this, and others have mentioned this too. For now, I think it's indicative, maybe. Anyway, for now, yeah, let's keep building this rocket. What I'm doing here is adding the bits. So I'm making a little bit at the top. I've added that little fuel tank with some little motors, just to sort of give that final safety net. It's quite a high delta V stage and low thrust. And it'll help me do any maneuvers I need to do to make sure I can get back home. I'm not sure if it'll take off from the Mun. It might take off from Minimus. And here I'm just selecting the motor for the landing stage. Of course, I'm not going to put legs on this right now. I've seen there's a lot of bugs with legs, so this video is just going to be whipping around and doing a flyby of the Mun. So I'm looking through the different tanks, trying to figure it out. And one thing I did find a little bit counterintuitive was how, well, it's a bit, it's not maybe so counterintuitive, but when you bring up a selection of things, so I bring up the engines, and you see how it populates down. When there's a hell of a lot of stuff there, you'll go through looking and looking and looking, and it'll keep going down, so you keep having to scroll down, and it's just messy that. Could just pop straight in. I mean, you're queuing it yourself, so your brain is ready for it to pop the whole thing. Anyway, basically, I'm going to be designing a craft here that has spaghetti staging, or no, asparagus staging. Sorry, spaghetti staging. That's what's been happening with everyone's rockets. It's got asparagus staging, and it's going to come down, and the outer three booster stages, which are going to be liquid fueled, will supply fuel to the center stage, booster stage, until they are depleted and then drop off. Hopefully I'll get some good indication about when they are depleted to drop them off, like either they'll run out of fuel or I'll see a gauge go down. What you'll see in a bit is me, or you may have seen already, is me have troubles trying to find the fuel line, and I typed fuel line into search, but it didn't come up, and I don't know what was going on with that. I had to go and manually look for it. You may have also seen me playing around with the staging there. It's in an awful state. You get things all over the place, and you really have to go through, check your staging, go right through top to bottom, make sure everything is where it should be and is going to work when it should. I would recommend for that you do what you'll see me do in a little while, which is once you've got it all checked, sort of run up and down it and look at the highlighted parts and see the sequence in one sort of go. That will help you get that final visual check. Now, I've got to get these fuel lines on, sorry, not the fuel lines. I've got to get these struts on, and what's going on here? Yeah, there's some weird happened, and I couldn't get the launch tower supports to attach when I pulled them out. It did actually work in the end, as you'll see. I had to mess around with some other stuff, and then it started to work, and I have no idea why that was. But that's a little transient bug that might be fun to replicate for the devs. Oh, they're going to be so busy. It's been really quiet, I've noticed. Like, there's been a few things being said on forums and whatnot, and discussion boards, but it's been pretty quiet overall. I'm imagining there's going to be a big announcement coming out soon. They have said they're working hard on trying to fix this, that, and the other. So hopefully there's some big improvements soon. Making sure this thing's got some comms back, and this was what happened. I wouldn't see, like, that's not working. I'm like, what's going on here? So I unselected it and clicked onto the rotate and manipulate part, and then back to the actual add parts tool. And then I was able to stick it onto the body, so yay. And that also worked for the clamps, which you'll see in a mo. Anyway, for now, it's just putting some finishing touches on. I thought I would go for bigger solar panels, and then went, nah, I don't really need them. It's all good. We're just whipping around. So once I placed those and decided I didn't need a battery, I was able to put the launch clamps on her and get her ready to go. So enough of that, let's get out to the launch pad. It really is some lovely artwork they've put in here. I would like to maybe see if I can get those as wallpapers. That'd be cool. Yeah. And as you've noticed, just on the right hand side, my staging is a little bit screwed up. I need to go and move some rocket motors into the correct staging. Yes. Anyway, is what it is. Launch should be in just but a moment. Some weird flashes going on down there. And away we go. Sound is really nice. They have done a nice job getting that proper audio of the rocket engines. Well done on that cue. Unfortunately, it still looks pretty aliased, but you know, at least my rocket isn't wobbling everywhere. There is that. I mean, that's a positive sign. So here I'm trying to pull up and see how much fuel I've got, and suddenly, oh my god, the drawbacks of this system become immediately apparent. Where am I? Orientating brain. Ow, hurt, ow, yes, thank you. Okay, that'll do. Is there any? There's no information. Okay, useless, too. Okay. So, I don't know, let's maybe see that change. Oh, it just didn't even bring up, I don't know what it brought up. Anyway, as you can see though, in the bottom right hand corner, I have got a readout on the fuel tanks. So the asparagus staging is at least showing me what's in my fuel tanks relative to the motors that they are running. And yeah, oh my god, eye candy moment there. That is quite nice. The turbo pump exhausts coming off look awesome. A really nice touch, that. So I'm starting to gently come over, but I'm going to ditch my tanks while I'm still mostly vertical. That's it. Boosters away. Parachutes away. Hopefully they can be recovered and used another time. And another bug. Where's my gimbling? Where's my gimbling? Where's my gimbling? Gimbling. Hello. Any control? No. Alright. Alright. Shut down motor. And restart motor, and the gimbling starts to work again. Yay! That's really annoying. Why is that? What is that? Like, how much playing, like, testing did this is like beta. This stuff is quite beta. You'd think you'd have this done by the time you were giving it to people to launch rockets. That's the very start of the game, guys. Alright, I'm getting salty. Sorry. Not gonna be salty. Gonna be cheery. Cheery, man. Anyway. So right, Valentina's riding away. The little new window for the the window IVA is really nice, and looking through the window to see what's going on with your Kerbal is really cool. I really want to see the IVAs because I want to have a better look at these interiors. And there you go, that stage is empty. Separate, and away we go. And lower the thrust to make sure I've got enough authority on the craft to point it where I want it. Because I am not in a perfect orbit. I am, as you can see, inclined slightly. Once again, those plumes, it's the engine exhaust plume is just delicious. It's lovely. The shading on the edge of the atmosphere is quite nice, and I can't wait to be able to see that with higher graphics settings. There's a lot of bloom coming off, but I mean, it is a chrome craft, right? So or just a stainless steel, bare stainless steel, so it's gonna reflect that light, and unfortunately that's a bit of an issue. At least I hope it's not too bad of an issue for the recording. However, if you notice, it doesn't seem that there's a step there. It's not always right. You see what I'm saying there? And the craft is still rotating, but yeah. Anyway, so once I've gotten, I'm just sort of eyeballing this too. So my apoapsis is at 61.45. Sorry, 61.6, and I'm just sort of eyeballing that. Gonna get myself into a reasonable high apoapsis, but my time to it has sort of decreased, so I'm just going to continue this burn and keep myself aloft, more or less mostly circularizing in one go, which is theoretically, I believe that's more efficient. If there's any actual rocket scientists out there who want to let me know if that's correct or not, but to do all your velocity change at once is more efficient. Is that correct? And now I'm going to be skimming above the atmosphere, but I'm unable to fully circularize that orbit in this burn, so I've cut it off with an apoapsis of 92 and a perihelion of a 38.3, and I've still got a ton of delta V, like a 2251 delta V in this stage. I think this stage is that this stage is that. It would be nice to have a. Oh yeah, I do believe, because down below that in the lowest right hand green box there is 5437, and I think that is my overall fuel capacity, or delta V, and the stage number, or the number that's next to 5, is the delta V for the stage I'm using now. Time warping until we get to my burn point. I've got to give it a bit of time to bring the craft around. It's so heavy, and there's only the little reaction wheels in that cabin up there whirring away. So for those news players who are watching, what you really want to do is just get your apoapsis and perihelion above 70 kilometers. That is the height of Kerbin's orbit, and the height at which you will not be dragged back down to surface by the clutches of the atmosphere. Yes. So I'm just going to move time warp forward a little bit and execute the burn. Those yellow notifications are very noticeable, yes. Possibly slightly obnoxious in how noticeable they are. Could we maybe make them slightly transparent? Or different? Anyway, so here I'm going to try to set up my maneuver node, and I'm having some issues because it keeps thinking I want to click on Kerbin when I don't want to click on Kerbin. But there you go. And I want to do it, as you can see, sort of not Well, in this case, you can do it like so that if you get to the part of your orbit where you're looking at the moon with the front of your craft pointing prograde and burn, you will be able to push out your trajectory more or less until it gets to the moon. But you can, I mean, you do it with the maneuver node like I'm trying to do here. However, that didn't really work. So if you can imagine for 1 second that there is a line between the proposed periapsis and perihelion of that proposed orbit. And you can see how the moon is off more or less, or somewhat less than 90 degrees from it. If you start your burn within that arc, so off to the right of where the maneuver node is now, up to maybe like the same distance away from the aphelion there, sorry, the apoapsis, it will be in the right kind of area. But as you can see, I came down and wanted to give you some good footage, so I came in and got lined up for the burn and giving a little bit of authority to the craft so it can hurry up and get orientated, get its attitude in the right orientation. And something's happened. I don't know what happened. Start burn now. But it's already, and it's nowhere near what it said before, and oh man. It's alright, I mean, you know, like I just said, all that stuff, we can get to the mun anyway. We don't need to plan it, just burn. Alright? That's what we're gonna do. Burn. And you see I'm at full throttle. As you get, again for new players, as you get more height on that apoapsis, you want to throttle down because it'll start to move quicker and you can jump your targeted orbit very quickly. And I discovered right then, how to find out what my proposed periapsis is. Yes, not perihelion, sorry. So yay, now I can plan a little better, even if I can't plan a little better. Yes. So I wanted to time warp to this point and sort of show you me leaving the Kerbin, but I was there already. It was so quick. I literally wham, and you're there. So all right, no worries. I time warped into the perihelion, periapsis, and pulled a orbital maneuver, one might say, where I circularized the burn. Where I circularized the orbit. And, you know, Val visited Mun Space and checked it out. Went, yeah, it's Mun Space. Now, I do believe if I were to put my mouse over that little AP moving in off left screen, it would show me the predicted values of the, predicted orbit. But I'm just going to use a little circle there and get it nice and close. Yes. Which is all you need to do, more or less. For those orbiting bodies with an atmosphere, do beware of the atmosphere. Of course. And in we swing. With a little bit of lag switching bodies. And a lot of glare off that. I might see if I can lower that bloom. I don't know. Is that an option? I'll have to have a look. It's very bright. However, now Valentina is orientating the craft into the correct attitude to commence her circularization burn. And while she's at it, she'll have to proceed with Directive 3. Make big bang on Mun. So what I'm going to do is drop the stage we're using into the surface. Well, that's what I'm planning to do. I want to see if objects on the rails, for new players, that is, objects you're not focused on playing with, will crash into a planet or will phase through it. So let's find out with the mostly spent stage of this craft. And whilst we're waiting for Valentina to detach this stage, I might tell you what directives 1 and 2 were. They were, get to, Mun, and get home. I would note they didn't say safely. Anyway, moving forward. There she goes, off on her trajectory to clip the surface of the moon, Mun, sorry, keep doing that, with a lot of energy. And hopefully we'll see what happens. Will an object on the rails phase through a planet? Burn myself away and put myself in an orbit that's not on a lithobraking course. So about 25 kilometers above the surface of the Mun, with quite a high apoapsis of 527. Right, well, now it's just swing into the Mun time. Well, not into the Mun, swing around the Mun time, I mean. Well, not for default name 11. Yes, that's a creative name, isn't it? So I've skipped forward a little bit so we can have a little look at what's going on, and Valentina can hop on out and go on a little EVA. And this is my first EVA in KSP2. There you go. And it's nice to see the buttons are all the same, and the controls regarding that seem to be very similar. Just having a little look around, surveying the scene. I can just imagine the mission control is quite nervous right now and would very much like Valentina to get back in the craft. So any moment she's just going to hop back in and make sure she can get up to space again. Alright, there you go. In she goes. Just had to have one last look. And so, here we are. We're approaching the point in our orbit where we'll be the closest to the surface of the Mun, and we have plenty of delta V. Absolutely heaps. I'm not sure why the planner was saying that I wouldn't have enough fuel to make it before, but I definitely do. That's for sure. So let's move forward and see what she looks like from 25k out. And while we're doing that, I'll let you enjoy the scenery until we get to the burn home point. Okay, let's get planning that burn. Now, if you're wondering what that little box was that came up before, it said Aero GUI. I didn't have a close look, but looked like it had some aerodynamic style information on it. And that came up with F12, so it's going to come up every time you do a screenshot. Yay! Did no one think about the fact that people use that button already? Anyway. So here I'm planning a burn, and I'm doing it wrong. I'm kind of giving you an example of what you shouldn't do here. When you're returning from a body orbiting another body, you are moving on average at the same velocity as it. However, when you're on the, in this case with my orbit going counterclockwise, is that right? No, it's going counterclockwise, yes. When you're on the outside, you're going to be moving away, you're going to be moving a fair bit faster. And when you're on the inside of the object you're orbiting, you're going to be moving slower. And so that is the time when you want to commence your your transfer burn back to the parent body. And that's exactly what I've done there. And you'll see that I planned the node, but yes. Anyway, until then, let's just enjoy the nice scenery. Slightly sped up. Alright, we're here at the maneuver node. It's time to execute the burn, and it looks okay for now. Okay. Burn it is. I love those plays. Oh my gosh, love those plumes. Anyway, but something has not gone correct with the prediction. Why is it saying that I'm going to impact? That's very odd. And I'm not actually going to impact. Like, my trajectory, if I recall correctly, is the blue line. That's where my ship is going. But the maneuver node planner was like, no, wait, you're going to crash. But how and why? And anyway, I really hope that's fixed soon. It's going to make it a lot easier to do more complex things than just going to the Mun. And yeah, I mean, really does need to get fixed. And now I've adjusted that periapsis to be just inside Kerbin's atmosphere. And we're going to swing on down and enjoy the view. And now we're back at Kerbin, and we need to lose a lot of speed. An awful lot of speed. We're moving at 3,000 meters per second. So we'll head to the lowest point of this orbit, which is coming up in about a minute. Although, of course, I've time warping in there, so less for us now. And punch it. Although, I don't really like how the Z and X is immediately slamming it up and down. Maybe the immediate off is a good idea. Can we have like a 0.1 second delay? Or ramp up time? Just because, I don't know. How do people feel about that? Anywho, after testing the engines, Mission Control gives the go-ahead for Valentina to unleash the power of this rocket and bring herself to a nice, steady speed. I didn't realize this at the time, but I wasn't going to be able to knock off everything in one go exactly. Although I did end up in a position where I was able to manipulate my orbit to land reasonably close to the KSC. Although, yeah, it's definitely a recovery mission over the mountains to get me. But there we are. We're mostly done. Apoapsis is at 140 kilometers. Perihelion, or periapsis, or whatever we're going to call it, I'm going to have to figure that out right after recording this, is at 58.5 kilometers. And left all alone here, this craft will eventually re-enter the atmosphere. Although maybe not if it's not in active focus. However, this is when I realized I was coming in over the desert. I had a lot of fuel and could probably get myself near KSC. So that's what I did. And there you go, you got the marker. And this little crash marker, I was watching Splitsy on Flipsy, on his Flipsy channel, play this. I think it was on that channel. Anyway, played this before, and someone commented that this is a little pessimistic, and yes, it is. It would be really cool if that was dynamic. So at the moment, it doesn't really look like you need the exclamation points. That could just be a landing rocket or a parachute in a pod or something. Like a pod with lines coming off it at the top, like a parachute. And that could change. So if you're out of fuel, you get this symbol. If you're coming in and you're doing a powered landing, maybe it comes and has a little engine symbol. Something like that would be a really cool touch, I reckon. So what I'm doing now, actually, sorry for you new players, is I'm burning normal, which means I'm pointing the craft to the north and trying to push my orbital vector up northwards, changing my inclination in that direction, of course, because I'm not actually in a full orbit at the moment. Doesn't really seem apt. But there you go, I've used all that fuel and I'm down to my little last maneuvering engines. But they're getting their work done, so no problem there. Gonna basically go burn normal and then retrograde to move that with the breaking point, hopefully not, but maybe we'll see, closer to KSC. Probably should have left it over the water, actually. Anyway. So they've got here. They're really good. Like, if you want to build a craft with a final desperate get-out-of-free jail card, this is a nice little idea. Chuck that tank on there. Chuck just like 3 motors. You're not going to get there quick, but you could possibly be the difference between getting there and not. Or getting home. And hopefully I've been able to show you how to get around having problems with the maneuver planner when you're on a trip to the Mun. It's not worked for me so far very well at all. yeah, it didn't work in my first playthrough. It hasn't worked here. I'm assuming it's worked for other people. I think I've seen other people use it, but I'm not saying anything verified there. As far as I know, it's broken, in my experience. And here we are, coming back in, as that stage spins off. That's a very nice effect. Anyway, so I've sped this footage up slightly, and yeah, I'll just let Valentina sort of spin freely and enjoy her flight back down, which I think I will let you do as well until we get down somewhere near touchdown point. The chutes have opened, the craft is slowed, but Valentina looks down to see the ground rushing on just a little fast. Did they put big enough chutes on this? Valentina worries and quickly begins to write. Yeah, so it turned out that I might have picked the wrong chutes and might have slammed Valentina into the ground at 35 meters a second. These things may have happened, or, because it's a computer game, they may not. Anyway, I hope that has been helpful to anyone out there having problems who is new to the game and, having problems with the maneuver planner. If you know what's going on, then it's not really a huge deal to get around and have a bit of fun. But if you don't know what's going on, that could, well, ruin your day. So hopefully I've been helpful and we've had a bit of fun here, and you'll like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. I really want to see if I can build that little nuclear-powered SSTO I used to build back in KSP1.